This is the Carty Method podcast.
Hey, for over 3 decades, I've lived and breathed the art and business of photography. I've been transitioning from struggling to thriving, and believe me, through COVID, it was struggly. But now I'm building this incredible career that I've loved. I've helped countless photographers just like you do exactly the same. No matter where you are in your photography journey, the biggest obstacle to success is not the lack of skill or opportunity. It's the barriers that we face both internally and externally. So today, we are going to uncover these barriers and arm you with actionable strategies to help you overcome them so you can finally step into the career that you've been dreaming of. So let's talk about the biggest obstacle to your success. Whether you're just starting out or whether you've been stuck for years, here's the truth. Every photographer faces obstacles. Some are practical, like money, budget, equipment. Others are internal, fear, self-doubt, burnout, and the hardest to conquer of all are the barriers that you build for yourself. So let's break down some of these barriers that you build for yourself. Let's talk about fear. Fear is creativity's worst enemy. And we have these internal barriers. We have a fear of failure. We have a fear of judgment. And you got to know that fear is creativity's worst enemy. It can stop you before you even begin. Are you scared to take risks because you might fail? Do you hesitate to share your work because you're worried about being judged? Does the fear of making mistakes keep you from trying new techniques? I got to get into some lessons that I learned early on. When I was 19, I brought my portfolio to a modeling agency so I could get paid to shoot models. Their critique of my portfolio was brutal. I walked in, I said, "Hey, I'm here to see X to show my portfolio." She's like, "I'm X, show me." She opened my book and she just started laughing. She literally started laughing. She started the page. She laughed more. She looked at me and then she laughed. And then she walked away with my portfolio. She went into the back room to show the rest of the agents, and I could hear them all laughing in the back room. And then she came out, slapped my book closed, passed it to me and said, "Thanks. We need a good laugh." And then she walked away. Like, that was the first time I showed my portfolio. I could have let that stop me, but I didn't. I had a meeting in the afternoon, and I had a payphone in my hand to cancel that meeting, but I decided to go. If I was going to get rejected again, I might as well have that rejection happen on the same day. That rejection, by the way, became the foundation for my resilience. So I went to that second meeting and the agent said, "Your portfolio's bad." "Have you ever seen a portfolio before?" I hadn't. She showed me model portfolios and she asked me if I've ever seen a photographer's portfolio before. I said I hadn't. She showed me this portfolio from this working photographer in town. I opened this photographer's book. I swear butterflies flew out. And she actually gave me 2 models to shoot because she saw something in my photography. So I shot those models. I took them to an underground parking lot, did some stuff with car lights, and she's like, huh, you're a photographer. She started sending me models. I was 19 years old. I can take rejection, I've had the worst rejection of all. Every single rejection throughout my career has been a step forward towards creating better work and gaining confidence. If I had gave up back in 1990 with that first big rejection, I probably wouldn't even have gone to photography school. I wouldn't have the work, or I wouldn't have the career that I've built. So, how do you overcome fear? Well, the first thing that you have to do is you have to reframe failure. You have to treat mistakes as lessons. Every setback teaches you something valuable. And start small. Submit work to local contests. Submit to local exhibitions. Share your work with a small, trusted group of a community. And that's going to help you build confidence. And practice sharing. Like, so many photographers, they have social media, but they don't share. Like, they share randomly. Other people share everything. The opening of a door, they're sharing on Instagram. So you got to practice sharing and share your work consistently, and also share your work to the right eyes. Each time you normalize vulnerability and you reduce fear. So let's talk about mental barriers. Mental barriers are huge, and I've been touching on perfectionism a little bit on this channel recently, and perfectionism is paralyzing. You tell yourself, this has to be flawless, and suddenly you're stuck because in your mind, this has to be flawless. But you haven't even done enough reps to get to the point where you can do flawless on the first try. So you think everything needs to be flawless, so suddenly you're stuck. Or worse, you never even start. So let's talk about my struggle with perfectionism. I once had a high-profile client, and I spent hours. I mean, I have a few high-profile clients, but I spent hours with this one particular client, obsessing over every detail, even delaying sleep before the shoot, like the night before the shoot. Couldn't sleep. And this is out of fear that I would forget a piece of kit, or like the shoot tomorrow wouldn't meet my own impossible standards. When I finally let go of that perfectionism and slept, the next day when I started shooting, everything fell into place. Much of the gear that I was obsessing over bringing, I didn't even use. And the images turned out better than I could have possibly imagined. So here's the lesson. We all obsess, but perfection's an illusion. Starting is better than not starting. And if you have talent and are prepared, you always are going to do the best work possible, right? And by the way, sleep. So let's talk about how I let go of perfectionism and how you can let go of perfectionism as well. Number one, set realistic goals. It's super easy. Break your project into smaller steps and focus on progress, not necessarily perfection. Next, experiment without pressure. Dedicate time to creative play where mistakes are not only welcomed, mistakes are expected. And celebrate your wins. Reflect on your growth, okay? Look how far you've come. Instead of fixating on that lens you don't have or that job you haven't got yet, like, celebrate wins. It's so important. Now, we also have psychological barriers, like these brain barriers, our own mental, psychological barriers. And burnout is a thing. Lack of motivation is a thing. And creativity runs on motivation, but It's easy to lose your drive when you're overwhelmed, when you're burned out, or when you're unsure where to start. So ask yourself, do you feel uninspired? Do you feel uninspired? Are you overwhelmed by everything that you think that you need to do today? Have you lost the excitement that made you pick up a camera in the first place? These are really important questions to ask yourself. And burnout has almost stopped me a couple times. There's been many points in my career where I've been juggling too much. I've been juggling client shoots. I've been juggling doing my own retouching. And I've been trying to grow my business. And what happens is I stop creating personal work for myself, and my commercial work began to feel like a chore. Like, this isn't a job. I'm a photographer. I do this because I love it. But when you get into this mindset and your commercial work starts to feel like a chore, that's a problem. Only when I stepped back, when I set boundaries and carved out time for personal projects, did I rediscover my passion. So that's super necessary for us to do. So how do you rekindle motivation? Well, first, you got to clarify your goals. Write down what you truly want and why. Make your goals specific and inspiring. Next, prioritize passion projects. Dedicate time to work on work that excites you. It'll fuel your creativity and it'll refresh your energy. And something that I fail at so bad is scheduling rest. Build regular downtime into your routine. Creativity thrives when you're rested and recharged. So this is a hard one because we all have this problem as well, which is practical barriers, like working with what we have. Like, many photographers feel stuck, and they feel stuck because of budget constraints, logistical challenges, physical limitations, or the weather. But here's the truth. Success is not about having the best gear in perfect conditions. It's about doing the best with what you've got and pushing yourself further than your competition would. So, I couldn't afford lights when I started, I couldn't afford lights. My first photography studio, I leased a natural light studio with my brother. And instead of not letting lights stop me, I mastered every natural light technique imaginable, indoors and outdoors as well. And I even would go to the hardware store and buy lights from the hardware store. Finally, I could afford to buy a single light, which, by the way, back in 1994, a studio strobe was $2,000 for a single head. $2,000. Now you can buy them on Amazon for $196, but you don't have them yet. Finally, I could afford to buy one light. So I shot with one light for years. One light, mastered using one light and a reflector for years before I shot with multiple lights. Today, I would recommend renting gear for specific shoots and focus on making the most of what you already own. Learn how to use the shit that you own. So many people have lights, they don't even know how to place them. Do you understand? It's all in the placement of light. It's not about the super sick lights that you own. It's about, do you know where to put them? Past constraints have forced me to be resourceful, which has become one of my greatest strengths. So let's talk about how to work within your limits. First, Maximize your gear. Push the boundaries of what you already own. Learn how to use the gear that you already have. Like, so many photographers are gearheads, but they make shit photos. Use natural light and experiment with creative ideas, creative cinematic angles. Start with natural light. I worked with natural light. To this day, I'm a natural light addict. Next, streamline your shit. Streamline your kit. Invest in versatile, lightweight tools to simplify your setup. Simplify. Yes, I have an R5 and grips and 8 lenses and blah, blah, blah. But when I shoot with one camera and one lens. And usually that lens is a prime. And if people know me, if you know me, you know I choose the lens that I shoot with and I go out and I shoot that idea with one focal length. And maybe I'll bring 2 lenses, a 50 and an 85, or a 50 and a 135. Streamline your kit. Next, buy magazines. I'm going to say this over and over and over and over and over and over again until it clicks. Buy magazines. Nothing pushes your boundaries more than seeing the work that you wish that you were making in the pages of a major magazine. Okay? Print isn't dead, okay? Print isn't dead. I promise you. You're just not looking at magazines within your niche to be inspired, to push harder than you've been pushing, using the equipment that you already have. Buy magazines. Like, you have no idea how sick the work is in magazines. But are you buying magazines to see what's happening? And next, plan strategically. Scout locations and plan your shoots to minimize logistical stress. Plan your shoots. Plan strategically. You guys with me still? Let's talk about some self-imposed barriers. Hey, Melvin, welcome. Let's talk about some self-imposed barriers. These self-imposed barriers are the stories that you tell yourself, okay? The hardest barriers to overcome are the ones that you create, okay? Do you tell yourself, I'm not good enough? Do you believe that you're not creative or you don't have the time it takes to succeed? Do you believe that? Is that one of your isms? Do you believe that you're not creative or that you don't have time to succeed? I actually wrote that twice. I spent years comparing myself to other photographers, thinking I'd never measure up. That mindset has always kept me stuck, you know? And you know how much I know about other photographers. Like, I love looking at like the best of the best of the best of the best. When I shifted my mindset to creating work that made me proud, that made me feel good, everything changed. Honestly, one small win at a time, one small win at a time, I built confidence and eventually the career that I have right now. So one small win at a time. That's how we do it. So let's talk about how to break these limiting beliefs that we have. Let's talk about how to break limiting beliefs. First, start small. You need to choose manageable projects that push you outside your comfort zone. That's going to build confidence. Remember, one win leads to another. So start small. Next, track your growth. Keep a journal. Write down everything. Keep a journal about your work. Keep a journal about your portfolio to see how far you've come. Next, challenge your own beliefs. Like Timothy Riviera saying, I thought magazines were dead. Wow. I thought it was digital. Do you understand? The reason that magazines are dying is because you're not buying them. But just because you're not buying them, it doesn't mean that they don't exist. So this is you challenging your own beliefs. Look at how much money Chanel's paying for the back page. Look at how thick this magazine. And by the way, the price of this magazine in Canada is $20, $25. So, like, how are you going to know what's print worthy if you're not looking at print? How are you going to understand how text works with photography if you're not looking at text working with photography? You have to challenge your own beliefs. Things that why do you think that? Why do you think magazines are dead? It's all on the internet. Because you haven't been to a magazine store in a while. That's why you think. You haven't opened a magazine. If you open a magazine, you'll be like, print is alive and kicking. And in fact, print is elevated. It's up here, where the stuff that you see online, it's literally the Wild West. But if you buy print, you're seeing the best of the best. So why wouldn't you do that? So challenge your own limiting beliefs. That's how you break those barriers. So I'm going to give you the biggest secret of all. The biggest secret of all is this. You need to attach emotion to your goals. That's the biggest secret. You need to attach emotion to your goals. If your goals lack emotional weight, even the clearest roadmap, I'll say it again, even the clearest roadmap will feel like a chore. When you connect your dreams to something meaningful, that's the fuel that's going to keep you moving forward. Connecting your dreams to something meaningful is the fuel that keeps you moving forward, even when challenges arise, okay? That's the secret. You need to attach emotion to your goals. So here's a goal. I want to build a career as a professional photographer. That's the goal. Here's your surface level why. Surface level why. I want to quit my 9-to-5 job, right? Here's an emotionally connected why, okay? This is an emotionally connected why. Please stand by. Thanks. How long have I been muted? Was I muted? How long have I been muted? All right. So, yeah, I just muted myself just now. All right. Okay, thank you, Emmett. So, here's your goal. You want to build a career as a professional. Thank you, Priscilla. You want to build a goal as a professional photographer. And your surface level why is, I want to quit my 9-to-5 job. Okay? Now, here's an emotionally attached why. Why you want to build a career as a photographer. Here's an emotionally attached why. I want the freedom to control my time so I can spend more time with my kids. I don't want to miss another soccer game or another bedtime story because I'm stuck at the office. Do you understand that difference? That's an emotionally connected, an emotionally attached why you want to build a career as a professional photographer and why you want to quit your 9-to-5 job. Do you understand? Here's another example. Get published in a magazine. Here's the surface level why. Well, it would be cool to be published in a magazine, right? Here's an emotionally attached why. I want to prove to myself that my work is worthy of being showcased alongside other top photographers. Seeing my name in print will remind me how far I've come and inspire other photographers to pursue their dreams. That's an emotionally attached why I want to shoot for a magazine. I mean, I've shot for magazines for 30 years, but you can understand that that's an emotionally attached why you might want to shoot for magazines. Now, let's talk about how a goal could be tied to a connection, okay? So the goal is to photograph people professionally, meaning I want to photograph people for money, right? Now, here's your surface level why. Your surface level why is I want to make a living with my camera, right? Your surface level why, I want to make a living with my camera. Now, an emotionally attached why could be I love capturing the moments that people cherish forever. I want my portraits to make someone feel seen and valued, knowing that I've preserved a memory that will be shared for generations to come. That drives me. So emotionally attaching your reason why is a huge thing. Emotionally attaching reasons to your goals makes them personal. It turns an abstract idea into tangible motivations that deeply matter to you. When your goals represent freedom, when they represent pride, or they represent a connection, the work becomes meaningful, and every step feels like progress towards something bigger. It's easy to do things that are hard. And by the way, don't say things that are hard when you haven't done it yet. It's easy to do things that you've never done before when you know that every step is progress towards something bigger. When your days get tough, and your work, the tasks set ahead for you to become a professional photographer or to take your professional photography business to $100,000 a year, that work is going to feel overwhelming. But if you reconnect with your emotional why and let it remind you what's at stake, that'll push you to take the next step. I promise you. So I want you to ask yourself, what happens if you don't start? Sometimes the fear of staying stuck is more motivating than the excitement of success. I want you to picture yourself in the same exact place a year from now. Seriously, where you are right now, I want you to now fast forward. It's January 26, 2026. You're in the same spot. How does that feel? How does that feel? Do you understand? The only way to get out of that is by doing things that you've never done and doing things different than what you did last year. That is the actual only way. Do you want to be in the exact same spot that you were last year? Now, as you soak up that feeling of hell no, use that to fuel your next step. We're going to touch on how to break through your own barriers. Breaking through your own barriers starts with understanding what's holding you back and taking meaningful steps to move forward, whether it's fear, whether it's perfectionism, whether you're burned out because you have a 9 to 5 and you're also working 5 to 9, or if it's self-doubt, imposter syndrome. Every barrier can be overcome with the right mindset, the right strategies, and emotionally connecting to your goals. Now, today I went over a bunch of stuff. I uncovered how to face your internal fears, how to silence huge mental blocks, how to rekindle your motivation, and how to work within your own practical limits. Most importantly, you've learned that breaking through your own barriers starts with you taking action and staying connected to your deeper why. The roadmap to becoming a professional photographer, it isn't hidden. It's all that I talk about, and it's what I've dedicated my career to sharing. Now it's up to you to take the first step. And by the way, I'm about to release my very first self-paced course, which is designed to guide you through the foundational steps of starting your professional photography career or scaling your photography career to $100,000 a year. If you're wanting to start a career in photography, or if your photography career is not going as well as it should be, and if you don't know where to start, I recommend doing the right groundwork. I've just released Phase 0 on thecartymethod.com. I'm going to put the link to Phase 0 in the video description, and it's an introduction to my upcoming self-paced courses called Phases 1 to 6. This course is going to help you move past the barriers that have held you back and give you the tools to start building your dream career today. Your future's waiting, eh? You can start building it right now. Now, we're hit the end of today's podcast. And for those of you who are still watching, I would like to make, a little bit of announcement, because we are making some changes with my live streams starting next weekend. And again, I am going to get some pushback from this, but I'm going to explain to you why I'm deciding to do this. This has been a thought for a very long time, okay? I put an incredible amount of effort, as you can see, into my live streams. Like, I'm doing this live. And also, after I'm live, this is a podcast. You'll find it on Spotify, you'll find it on Apple Podcasts, you find it on Substack, and of course, it lives on YouTube forever. Now, I want to tell you something that I've been doing for 4 years. I've been doing commercial-free live streams on this channel for 4 years for free. Anyone can just come and watch them. And I've been really trying to incentivize my viewers to become a member of this channel. I've been trying really hard to incentivize you to become a member. And because you're watching live right now, if you're watching live, and if you're watching this after the fact, leave comments. But this is the vibe. As of next weekend, meaning the very next episode of the Carty Method podcast, watching this live is going to be members only content. I am making even more perks for my the super fans, the true fans of this channel. The true fans, if you're a true fan, it's worth $5 to be able to access 12 live streams per month. 12 live streams per month. And for everybody else who can't afford to be a member, you can absolutely just watch it after I'm not live anymore. But if you want to watch live, if you want to interact with me, if you want to participate in chat, if you want to get the emotes, if you want to glitch my stream and do all of that stuff, that is all going to be members only stuff. So watching me live includes that. I will be going live at the same time at noon. Until the podcast is over. I will stay with commercial-free content, but again, you understand, I'm doing these commercial-free, and I can no longer afford to do them commercial-free with the amount of members that I have. So the options are this. I either add commercials to my live streams and ruin the experience, or I make my live streams commercial-free. Because understand, if commercials go on a live, you miss what's happening while the commercial is playing. Because it doesn't come back and fast forward you back to what you missed. It just continues. So I really don't want to do that. And I'm going to, instead of that, make my live streams members only. So if you're a member, you're going to be able to watch all my content, chat with me, ask me questions. If you're not a member, you're going to have to hang out in comments and talk to me in comments. Again, there is no other photographer at my level who makes themselves available for free on YouTube as much as I do. There is nobody. So I either have to do less live streams, I literally, I Calligraphy called me and told me that there was no sound before he checked with other people in the stream to see if they had sound issues. Calligraphy, please check with other people to see if they have sound issues before you call me. I appreciate you calling me thinking it's an emergency, but check with chat. All right, so Owen, and you know what? I'll happily answer a couple of questions here if you guys want to ask me questions. And that's the other part about these members only live streams is I'll be able to, like, I'm still presenting. I'm still doing a podcast. I'm still presenting to you, so I can't answer questions when I'm in the middle of talking about photography business and you're like, what camera do you shoot with? Like, we can't play that game because that derails me, and I'm not going to stop my flow in order to answer your question. But I might do Q&As at the end more often, and I'm going to be doing more live Q&A streams, and also I'm going to be doing live streams from like my car, and I'm going to take it to the camera store. Like, I'm going to just be, I don't want to call it vlogging per se, but I'm going to be letting you more into my life on these live streams. Of course, I'll be clipping this stuff and turning it into videos as well. But for the people who choose to be members, my goal is to get 1,000 members on this channel. 1,000 members. I am not at 192, although it says 192. I don't think I'm quite there. I think I'm going to tell you the exact amount of... I'll tell you the exact amount that I have. I don't think that it is 192. The hard thing is, and again, I'm going to be really transparent. I get a lot of gifted memberships, and these memberships are super amazing. But the sad thing is the people who get gifted, once the gifted membership is over, they're not continuing it. They're just waiting for someone else to gift them. Like, I see people come up in my stream and they're like, how do I get gifted a membership? It's like, well, why don't you just pay the $5 and buy them? It's $5. It's $5. Am I not worth $5? It's like, so people just hang around and wait to get free memberships, which again, cool, if that's the vibe. But for me, I have to cater to the people who are like the true fans. And if you're a true fan, you'll pay the $5 if you believe my content is worth it. So totals are, I'm not that far off, but we are, let me just reset that total. Okay, we'll go here and I'll change this number. So if you guys want to ask me anything, so I think Owen had a question for me, which I'll happily answer. Let's see what Owen wanted to ask me. Owen, Lamont's pissed because no one's hitting the like button. What was my favorite celebrity to work with? Owen, I don't play favorites when it comes to shooting celebrities. I it's just about the story and the experience that comes with it. For me, I have great stories for when I photograph Colin Firth. When I photograph Colin Firth, this was just an amazing experience because the iPhone 4 just came out and FaceTime had just come out, and nobody had an iPhone 4, but I did because I got it on the first day, and Colin Firth did because he's Colin Firth. So he had an iPhone and I was on my phone, and he had just come in and literally, I turn around, I introduce myself, Colin, nice to meet you, and like, blah, blah, blah. And then he starts talking about, he's like, oh, is that an iPhone? I'm like, uh-huh. He's like, is that an iPhone 4? I'm like, it is. And he's like, he's like, have you used FaceTime? I said, I have. He's like, let me tell you a story about the first time I used FaceTime. And he said, I'm in the bathroom, okay? I'm listening to a podcast, or he's watching a YouTube video or whatever. So he has his phone like propped on the on the window or on the mirror, whatever. Like, so he's looking at it while he's peeing, and the phone rings. So he's like, I don't care. So he just pushes answer because it was his assistant, and he doesn't care if his assistant, who is a lady, sees him pee. But she also has an iPhone 4, and she decided it was a perfect time to test FaceTime. So he's Colin Firth is peeing. She sees him. He sees her. He's like, he smacks the phone down, blah, blah, blah. So Colin tells the story in the hotel while we're all together and everyone's laughing and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's hilarious. And then he's like, hey, do you know, by the way, how to get like documents and stuff from like your computer onto your phone without plugging it in? And I'm like, oh yeah, you just use Dropbox. He's like, Dropbox? Like, this was before iCloud syncs and all that stuff. So he's like, oh yeah, So his assistant's like writing down all the notes. And I gave him like, 4 apps that he had to have on his phone and blah, blah, blah. So he's like, aren't we supposed to take some photos? And like, I'm like, uh-huh. He's like, who's the photographer? I'm like, me. He's like, you're the photographer? I'm like, uh-huh. He's like, oh, amazing. Like, he thought I was like the producer. Like, so he's like, amazing. So he's like, where are we shooting? And I showed him my black seamless and my black background, my black secret piece of black fabric. And then I shot this photo. And he said, oh, you're a real photographer. And I'm like, thank you. And then I proceeded in 5 minutes to absolutely smash like one of the most powerful sessions of my career. And afterwards shared with Colin, and my client was from Japan and flew from Japan for this photo shoot. And my client was very stressed in the beginning because I was talking about iPhones and Colin was talking about peeing, and like there was no work happening. And it was like that for like 20 minutes. And then so basically all my time, like I had 20 minutes to shoot him, and we talked for the full 20 minutes until the time was gone. And then in 5 minutes, I shot like work that looked like I took a day to shoot. So my client he's like, you're very good, Mr. Carty. You're very tricky. He's like, you're very tricky. And he's like, you became friends first and then you took picture. I said, yes. He said, we take picture first, become friends after. And I said, better pictures if you become friends first. So you wanted a story. This is, Owen, one of the most important photographs in my collection, one of the most important sessions. And again, like I have those stories there's no favorites. And if you watch my spot, like my mix spot, I don't play favorites with photographs. They're all my favorites, but there's just career changing sessions. In 2001, I photographed Pharrell Williams before he was a household name. And he had produced Ludacris's album. He had produced Rock La Familia. He had just released his NERD album. Like, people in the know knew Pharrell was going to be the next, but people who didn't, they didn't know. And I had the pleasure of photographing him, and that session was in Hip Hop Immortals, which was the largest exhibition of hip hop photography in the world. That session has been exhibited in Paris. It's been exhibited in London. It's in the book Hip Hop Immortals. It's also in the book Carte Blanche, which is the first book of Canadian contemporary photographers, which I was invited to be in, and they chose my photo of Pharrell. So that session, although it has made me famous as a photographer. It's been published by Hypebeast and reposted, and this is the most stolen session ever. Like, this picture's been stolen more than anything else, but it's not like people who are taking it are making money from it. They're just posting it to social and blah, blah, blah. But that photo is registered with Getty, so people can't really steal it and use it for money. And that session, which I shot for a small hip hop magazine for $300, this photo has made me hundreds of thousands of dollars, because it has given me, it's put my name and my work on the map. So that's the second really most important session. And the first most important session is the session that started it all, which was in 1997. I photographed Tom York from Radiohead. And I photographed him for the cover of the Globe and Mail newspaper 1 week before the release of OK Computer. And this picture, which I shot when I was 26 years old, on Hasselblad film, this picture changed everything. And I had done so much before. I'd shot Tony Bennett, Oscar Peterson. Like, I'd worked for 5-7 years as a professional before I shot this picture and this celebrity. But this picture changed everything. This picture, like, this picture is like, yeah. So, for me, the way that I talk about it is like pictures like Tom York are why I got hired to shoot Michael Sheen. Pictures of Tom York are why I shot Adewale. And like, people just look at the faces that I have in my portfolio, and it just spawns me shooting more people. This is Strombolopolis, George Strombolopolis, and Pete Rock, and DMX, and Daft Punk, like all of these big celebrities, and Beanie Man, and Bounty Killer, and Ciara, Grandmaster Flash again, like all of these celebrities come from Ja Rule. It all comes from that first shot of me shooting Tom York. So again, these questions, Owen says, I think it's important to fall in love with people you photograph. Do I agree? Yes. 100%. I fall in love with everybody that I photograph if they're female. If they're male, I have to like them. I have to like them if they're guys. And again, I photograph males and females. I fall in love with the women that I shoot. And the men that I shoot, it's like we become comrades is the best way to, like, once I photographed you, we are friends for life. So it's like I befriend every male that I shoot. And like, females, like I shoot them in such a way that's iconic. I try to shoot everybody in an iconic way. And I just look up to women, so that for that reason, I photograph women in an empowering way, not in a sexualized way, And I think that as a photographer, it's important to have a stand and take a stand. I have a daughter, so I have to photograph women with integrity and character. So, again, just as something else, and again, just so you know, the reason that members and being a member of this channel is going to be so important now, because my live streams are going to be members only. So, Owen, do you see how I just answered that question with like that clarity and that conviction? This was going to make my live streams great, is because I'm going to start adding Q&As to the end of my Sunday shows. If you have a couple of questions you want to ask me, I'm happy to answer them. And yeah, Jay says, women here who deeply appreciate respectful men in business. Owen, guess what happened? You just stepped up to the microphone and became a member. So what happens here on my end is your name just goes on the screen. I just gave you the smoke, put on a little light show for you, and understand this. Like, you're now bringing me one step closer. We're now at 188 true fans. You're bringing me one step closer to 1,000 true fans. And again, I'm going to keep with this right here, this goal. Right now, our goal is at 200. When I hit 200, I'll set the goal at 250. When I hit 200, we're going to just keep doing that until we get 1,000. And always, my last 25 members, your name exists right here. I show you right here. So it's like your ad. You get an advertisement for all, like, the rest of my streams. So I'm working hard for you if you decide to be a member. But the thing about members only live streams is that there's no gifting. You can't gift when I'm in a members only stream. So because of that, the gifting culture is going to kind of disappear, which sucks. But the good part is that the people who sign up for memberships actually want to be members and they get to stay on. So because you guys are here, and I love you. I'm going to, and you have to understand this. I gift 10 memberships per month. So my own money, I pay for, 10 memberships is $50. So I spend $50 and gift to you 10 people chosen randomly. I do it once a month. I gift 10. I've already gifted my 10 for the month. Okay, I've already gifted them. But I'm now gifting 5 more. Okay, this is my gift to you. I'm gifting 5 more memberships because, which is now 15. I'm paying you now to watch me. Because again, Tuesday, regular, Thursday, regular. As of Sunday next week, it is members only, and it will be members only from here on in. So you'll be able to watch my content. You just won't be able to watch me live. So I'm hoping that that is going to increase the amount of people who are watching, and also my members only library. I'm going to be continually adding and making members only content that's not even live, like just stuff for my members. Again, I've been watching some very successful channels they make stuff for their members. I mean, of course, I make amazing, great content for my YouTube channel, but I'm also now going to start making great exclusive Patreon style members content. So, there you go. I just gifted with my own gosh darn money. Again, that's 15 for the month. Anton, you should be a member already. You just got gifted. Gerard, Horticulture Culture, you just got gifted. Eddie Laws, you just got gifted. High Tolerance, you just got gifted. And Southern Merc, you just got gifted. And my man Josh McCoy just became a member. Thank you for becoming a member, Josh. So yeah, that's the vibe for the oncoming future. Anton, why were you not a member already, my guy? Guys, so again, this is how those people who are now in chat, and if you don't have a crown next to your name, it means you're not a member. If you don't have a crown next to your name, it means you're not a member. I'll say again. And Josh McCoy with a little smoke for signing and putting his $5 on the line. So yeah, I'm trying to do some new things with this channel in order for me to get to the next level, in order for me to be able to make the kind of content that you guys want. I give a lot of stuff away for free on this channel. I'm giving you, like, you see how hard I went on this podcast today? I went hard. So I hope it brought you value. Again, know that, and it's also based on my numbers, it's like 50 people only watching these lives. Cool. I'll just make them members only. If there was 1,000 people watching my lives, then it would be impossible for me to do that. But again, this is going to help me, and it's going to help my live content be even more exclusive, and you guys are able to talk to me and ask me questions. So that is the vibes. Rachel Running, glad to have you back. And thank you for subscribing to the Carty Method Substack. By the way, I mean the Carty Method magazine. We do have a magazine. It's called the Carty Method magazine. Just search for the Carty Method magazine on the internet. You'll find it. And yeah, we post a few times a week. It is all your content, meaning if you submit to photo reviews and get chosen as my hand-selected photos of the week or best in show, you get love on the Carty Method. So the Carty Method magazine is a thing. Also, you can follow us on social. You can follow me at Steve Carty. I'm on Instagram, of course, and all the other socials at Steve Carty. And also, hey, Chris Foster with the big ball and money. Listen, by the way, this is the last day to gift subs, my gift members, my guy, Chris. Thank you. Chris, did you just almost put me over 200? Chris Foster, King, just gifted 5. It's Mr. Chris was gifted a membership. Not sure you were gifted a membership by Chris DA exclusive. Also gifted. Tone RFS was also gifted and Vic, V-I-C. You were gifted all by the one and only Chris Foster. Chris, I'm smoking myself out here for you. I'm giving you the lights. I'm giving you the good vibes. Appreciate you, Chris. Thank you. And you two watching, you guys are members. You don't have to stress about anything, yeah? Of course you are. Carty crew for life. Appreciate it. I don't know where I am either. Guys, I hope today brought you value. Honestly, this matrix that you're trying to navigate, being a professional photographer, I have the roadmap. Go to thecartymethod.com. Download phase 0, setting your stage. It is available now for a introductory price. Phases 1 to 6 are going to be available very, very, very soon. And I hope today brought you value. One love.
This commercial-free live stream was brought to you by the members of this channel. If it wasn't for you, we'd have to fill up these live streams with ads that would just interrupt the flow. The members of this channel make commercial-free content during these live streams possible. Consider becoming a member for $5 a month today to gain access to secret live streams, live chats, and to show your support with that crown badge next to your name. Sharing is caring. If this content has brought you value today, share it, clip it, post it to your socials. Curating and sharing helpful content makes you an expert, even if the content you're sharing isn't yours. Be a curator and share this content with your network. If you're an emerging or struggling photographer that's trying to break free from your current 9-to-5 grind and transition to the life of a working pro photographer, that's our obsession here at the Carty Method. Register, get the support you need. If you're alone and struggling at this craft, make sure you join the Carty Method community. You'll always find help in the show notes. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Find your creative and business genius with the Carty Method.
As mentioned, if you became a subscriber recently, you're going to see your name scrolling upon the bottom of the stage, man. You're going to see it rolling right across the bottom. And if you became a member recently, you're going to see a crown next to your name in chat. You're going to see a crown next to your name in every one of my comments. And you can also use my emotes in my comments, which is dope. Also, the crowns graduate, meaning each month that you stay with me as a member, your crowns graduate all the way to 1 year, where your crowns turn into wings, which is pretty dope. You'll see quite a few people in chat who have actual wings next to their name. And guess what? After 2 years, which happens this summer, those wings evolve into literally something that your mind will break when you see what 2-year icon looks like. Guys, I love you. I hope this brought you value. Find me on podcasts, Spotify, podcasts, Apple, Substack, and all social media. I love you guys.